What's up, everybody? Thomas here, and I'm going to show you how I, a recreational poker player, cashed in my first ever World Series of Poker tournament. Let's take a look.
Congratulations.
This year, I played the $1,000 Mystery Millions Bounty No Limit Hold'em tournament. Top prize guaranteed $1 million, as well as the top bounty prize of $1 million guaranteed. The levels of this tournament were 30 minutes on day one and 40 minutes on day two and three. I played day one, flight D, starting at 10 a.m. There was 22 levels that day, and we had 20-minute breaks every four levels and a 75-minute break after level 6. If you've never played a bounty tournament before, this is how it works. When you knock another player out of the tournament, you earn a bounty, and you get to turn that in at the end of the tournament for a chance to win anywhere between a couple $100 all the way up to the top prize of $1 million. This was my goal, is to knock a couple people out this tournament, add in a little extra cash, and also make it to the money with the guaranteed prizes. I'm going to show you level by level what it took for me to make it to the money in this tournament. When you first get to the Paris, you're going to walk through the casino, past the cigar lounge, past the WSOP merch stand, and get to the registration tent. This is where you're going to provide your player's card and your ID and tell the cage what tournament you're registering for. As I walked my registration slip to the table 13, seat number 1, I decided to take notes on every level so that I could remember my first ever World Series of Poker tournament. Let's jump in. Couple of motivational quotes here for myself, as I've played other tournaments before. I'm excited to play my first ever World Series of Poker. Life is too short, chase the dream. Mentally prepared if I lose day one. As you tournament players know, it takes a lot of skill and luck to win a poker tournament. So 90% of the time you're going to end up losing or min cashing a tournament, so mentally you had to be prepared for the most likely outcome. Hoping to get some good cards, better than the last tournament. As you fellow poker players know, sometimes you're just card dead. I had registered for a MSPT tournament a year or two ago and was not getting any cards. So I was hoping for my first WSOP tournament, I'd at least get some cards where I could play a few hands and feel like I was in the action. Take time before you make decisions. Don't bluff off your stack. Don't play scared. And try to actively win pots. It's a long road to the cash, and it's a long road to winning the tournament. So you have to stay actively engaged the whole tournament. The glory goes to the man that went and did it, not the one who critiques. There's a lot of armchair quarterbacks out there, and everyone likes to give you advice on how you should have done things or how you could have done things. I decided to just do it. I'm an action guy. I took my shot, and it ended up paying off in the long run. Table 13, seat number 1, starting stack, 40K. As soon as I sit down, there's a gentleman behind me yapping people's ears off, and I heard his name was Cuz, and he was chewing on a cigar. Now, some of you probably already know Cuz. I ended up Googling him at the end of the night and found out that he's a prominent poker figure in the community, and he doesn't really mean all that bad. He's just a character. He's a talker, he's a New Yorker, and actually quite entertaining. Level 1, pocket threes 2 times. Folded them both times. I got suited connectors once, and I folded to a $19,000 all-in bet. That was level 1. You're going to find that these levels are not all filled with action. It's a long grind to get to the money. Level 2. Tried to set mine with pocket fives, did not hit the flop, and had to muck them. I also folded ace-10 pre-flop to a $1,300 raise. Ended up would have hit the nut straight and would have been a great chance to accumulate some chips early on in the tournament. Level 3, we're an hour and a half in, and I finally win my first hand with Queen Jack offsuit, pre-flop. Rainbow board comes out, all cards lower than my Queen Jack. I throw out a bet, everybody folds. We get our first ever World Series of Poker hand, one under our belt. I ended up winning my second hand that round with Queen Jack offsuit again, so we're keeping an eye on those Queen Jacks and hoping that it continues to give us good luck. Level 4, the whole 30 minutes, I raised one guy out of his big blind, and that was all the action. We get to break number 1, chip stacks at 33K, and I ended up passing Maria Ho in the hallway. Didn't get a chance to say hi to her, but as a recreational poker player, you see all these celebrities on YouTube and TV, and it's just neat to be able to see these people in person and know that they're actually real out there and they're just poker players just like you. Level 5, an absolute blank. No action, nothing happened. Level 6, ended up rivering a straight for the minimum win possible, just winning some blinds, no action, and unfortunately, when you get good hands in these tournaments, sometimes people just aren't in it, and you got to take what you can get. Level 7 was in a six-way hand that all checks down to the river. So, in an attempt to pick up some chips, I, with my pocket twos, bluffed, but got called by a guy with pocket eights. Unfortunately, that's the way it goes. Although after level 7, the highlight was running into Chicago poker celebrity Abby Merck, who is a rising star in the poker scene. And for those of you that have not met her, she's a lot taller in person. So level 7 found us going all in for the first time in the tournament, and we had a flush draw and a straight draw. We ended up drilling the nut flush on the river, collecting that pot, keeping us alive for the tournament. Level 8, won a few hands, good stuff, started building some momentum. And as you guys know, the further you get into a tournament, the blinds keep getting higher and higher. It is critical for you to keep winning hands so that you can stay afloat. This brings us to break number 2, chip count 68,500, still alive, dream still. Now, these breaks aren't very long, so when you're competing with thousands of other people, all going to the restroom at the same time, all going to the same convenience store as you, trying to grab the same slice of pizza as everybody else, it gets a little hectic. You need to get out early, grab your sustenance, grab a beverage, stretch your legs, and get back to the table so that you're fresh and ready to go. As we get back from break 2, we start level 9, and we lose a little few hands, but nothing major, still in it. We get to level 10, absolute blank. Again, you're going to fold a lot in these tournaments. It's going to be boring. It's going to be tedious, mentally draining, but you got to stay sharp. Level 10, I want a big hand with, you guessed it, pocket aces. Every once in a while they hold, and every once in a while they can be your best friend. As we get to level 12, I semi-bluffed with a pair of pocket sevens on an ace-high board with a club flush draw. I was pretty scared at this point because we're getting to be deep in the tournament, and the other guy had a lot more chips than I did. And of course, this is my first WSOP tournament. I don't want to lose. I want to stay in, but you also can't play scared. Remembered what I told myself in the beginning of the tournament, took a shot, and I ended up taking the pot down. This brings us to break 3. Chip count is 113,000. Rebuys are done after this break, and blinds come back to 2,000, 4,000 with a $4,000 big blind ante. So when you're the big blind, you're putting out 8,000 chips, and it gets expensive pretty quick. So we're going to have to pick up a couple pots and keep moving along. On break 3, I ended up walking past a couple more celebrities, Josh Aryeh and Daniel Negreanu, my personal favorite. Love his blog, and as you guys have probably seen on his blog, he's running around with the selfie cam, filming his own vlog and everything, and he doesn't really have a lot of time to take pictures with fans and chit chat and whatnot. So I let him do his thing, and ended up enjoying watching the perfect vlog afterwards. So great to run into my hero. We get back from break 3, starting level 13. I ended up folding my favorite hand in poker, King 9 suited, pre-flop against 2 all-ins. I was not going to mess with this action. I wanted to stay in the tournament longer, Didn't feel like I had an edge, so I sat this one out. And I ended up being behind in the beginning, but I would have rivered the boat for a massive amount of chips. So you can't let these situations mess with your head. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. It doesn't matter. Still in it, still have chips in a chair. So let's move on to the next one. Level 14. I lost about 20,000 in chips, folded pair of jacks to ended up being quads, which I was very glad to dodge that bullet. Avoided a mental and physical meltdown. And as much as it sucks to lose a big pot like that, it's better to still be in the tournament. So I felt good about the decision. I ended up losing another 20K to an all in that was the short stack, trying to knock this guy out, trying to get a bounty slip to win some of those mystery prizes. Um, and I also was pretty annoyed this level. We had a new dealer come in who really didn't know how to deal poker. She was new to the scene, and I was immediately to her left. So I ended up helping the new dealer for literally hours. How many chips are in the pot? How many cards are going to who, all in situations. And it was kind of a nightmare because I was becoming distracted from playing the tournament. I paid good money to play. And it's also one of those user experience scenarios where you pay good money to jump into the World Series of Poker and you want a good dealer. You want to play a lot of hands. You want it to go smoothly. So I was kind of doing a service to the other players at the table as well as myself because I didn't want any mistakes to be made and I wanted everything to be perfect so that when it came to my situation, my action, there weren't any mistakes. So a little distracted for the last couple hours with this new dealer, but we made it through them. Level 15, this is where it starts getting rocky. Hungry and tired, I wrote down. I'm down to crumbs, and I decided we're only doing all ins from here on out. I think we were down to about 10 big blinds, and as you poker players know, anytime you get below about 20 big blinds, you got to start thinking, all right, when am I going to shove and try and get some chips back? Level 16, coming back. Tripled up with ace 3 offsuit against ace king and pocket aces in the same hand. Ended up rivering the winning hand, and everybody was pretty upset with me. But me personally, I was just so thankful to stay in the tournament because at this point we hadn't made the money yet, and as you get closer and closer to the money, it hurts a lot more when you get knocked out. This brings us to dinner break. Chips are at $85,000 in a dream. I'm going to get some food, trying to reset the mental clock and come back fresh so that we can make it into the money for the first ever World Series of Poker tournament. All right, as I get back from dinner break, here are some important stats to keep in mind. Payouts start at 1,140 remaining players, and after dinner break, there was 1,341 remaining. So we're about 200 off the money, and we have just enough poker chips to possibly get in a couple all ins and try and wait till the min cash time frame. So beginning in level 17, my first all in, I had pocket eights versus ace 3 offsuit. Eights held, we double up, and we stay in the tournament. Now, towards the end of level 17, we get to a point in the tournament where they call it hand for hand. And that means that everyone is playing one hand sequentially until every single table is complete with their hand. And they do this because once you get close to the money, you need to determine who that last player is, the bubble, before everyone starts getting paid. So, how that works is everyone plays their hand. If there's no all ins, everyone at the table just sits there and waits. The dealer stands up, and the tournament directors are running around the whole room looking at the hands that are currently still in play, the ones with the all ins, and marking down who gets knocked out when, so that the ticker you can see on the TV screens in the tournament area start getting closer and closer to that money line. And every hand, maybe two, three, four, five people get knocked out at once, and it's a slow grind to get to that bubble. And once it bursts, the tournament director gets on the microphone and tells everybody, "You've made it to the money." Everybody cheers, and then play continues. So we get to the level where we make it to the money. First World Series of Poker cash ever. We're celebrating. I'm also down to crumbs. So at that point, it's late in the night, and we've been playing poker for, gosh, I don't know, 10 hours, 11 hours at this point. and the blinds are so high that there's practically no chance of me making it any further. So we ended up getting to level 18, busting out in 1013th place out of a total of 18,041 entrants, and paid out a prize of just over $1,300. Now, as you can see, it really doesn't take a whole lot to cash in the World Series of Poker. I took you level by level, showing you that sometimes we're just sitting there folding the whole time, and other times you get a little lucky and get some chips, and then you win a few hands. It didn't take a lot of action for me to actually cash in my first ever World Series of Poker tournament. So if you're a recreational poker player out there and your dream is to play in the World Series of Poker, I highly encourage you to go after it. Don't be scared. Take a shot because it's very accessible. I'm very pleased with the way I played, and I'm super excited to play again next year and hopefully make it farther into the money. And if you've made it this far, I want to thank you for joining me on the channel. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share, do all the things that help the channel grow. And we'll see you guys in the next one. We'll see you soon.